Hello, hello. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for another season two of our We Love to Sing or We Love Singing series. Please remember that we are going through a cycle where we are talking about the most famous areas in the world of opera. And today, before we start, I got a message during the week from one of our listeners from our podcast. He asked me to keep his name confidential. You will soon learn how. You may be also aware. Well, if you're watching this program close to the date we are broadcasting it through YouTube, you know that we are broadcasting on the 6th of June, year 2022, and for many people celebrate this as the Pride Month. I mean, for the LGBT, I don't know how many letters there are already. It's a very important month for them. And so he asked me if we could send a message to this community, as he is aware that there are many singers who are gay, lesbian, or any of those letters, as well as many listeners. It is somehow, it should be natural. Well, you may be aware because I have said it in the 50 Music Postcards series that since it is year 2022, it shouldn't be a matter of talking of what is the preference of one person on another, but it is true that it is still a place for many people to be discriminated for reason of the kind of people they like to be. So as I was thinking of what message I could give, I found this picture in the internet, and the reason why I chose this is, let me tell you why. When I got this message, I really didn't know what to say, so I started thinking about it, and I read a message from a Twitter that I follow. And so he was, as many people like to do when everything is, the trending topic. So it started June and everybody changed his picture and put the rainbow over there to show that they are supporting and etc. 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 So I noticed a message from that guy, and later, a few days later, I noticed that he posted another message, the messages that we call hate messages. And so I found myself in a contradiction because I told myself, how is it that early days of June he's claiming for pride, respect, and etc., 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 and later, a few days later, now he's claiming for hate for a given group. In this case, it was not for the sexual group, but it was in the case of the reason of the economical status. And so I came to the conclusion that maybe, from my perspective, the best way to celebrate for people in this group of the LGBTTI and all the letters that are now, that it doesn't really make sense if you want to celebrate a month where you want to be respected. Of course, you can always be proud of who you are, but you don't need to wait for a month, for a given month, to celebrate or to be proud of something, but also it is not necessary to wait for a given day or a given month to start respecting each other. If we all humans want to be respected for who we are, I think that we need to start respecting everybody else for who they are, so that one day we will not have a special day for women or a special day for elders, or a special day, as in this case, for people with a different sex orientation, or for anything. The day when we respect each other for whatever we are, that day, everything, we will be worth as humans. If we are not able to respect each other for whatever the reason, then I think we shouldn't be in year 2022. Maybe it should be year 1014 because we are unable to respect that. But I want to give you that message. Of course, we want to thank everyone who has been watching or listening to us for the past 3 months or so. Of course, we really believe that we need to respect each other, but we also need to pass the same message to the people who are around us. With that being said, I really don't think it is necessary to say if a given orchestra director is gay or if she's lesbian or not, because that is completely irrelevant. We need to respect him for the human being that he is, and in the case of the artistry, because of his genius in music or the given art that he or she is performing. That would be my message. I hope it satisfies your expectation, but it is very sincere. It is truly what I believe. Let's respect each other, no matter why, no matter how. And then we will, as many messages have been sent in the past, the world will be as one. Would you like to add something, Katya?
Finally, we're here because we are being united by music. We love to sing opera, or we love to listen opera, or we love to study opera. So I think that we have to love humankind, and just like you said, to respect. There are many kind of people, like there are many types of music, and we have to respect them all. So we are here to talk about what we love. We are here to share and to respect. We are all free to give our opinion, but always since the from the respect. So I want to say hello to everyone that is listening us, and like we said at the first beginning of this program, this podcast, we are here to have fun.
Yes, absolutely. And I also would like to express my apologies because he says that we talk a lot about that we are on YouTube, but we have never mentioned for people on the podcast what the channel in YouTube is. And it is true. So if you want to find the list, you find it in YouTube as We Love Singing. If you want to look for that, then that's where you will find us. And if in your country you haven't heard Katya singing, because we are having her mainly in Europe, our main video is showing there. Then you just need to click there, and that's where you will find us. But thanks again for watching us, and hope you have a great month of June, month of Pride. Now, getting down to business, as some people say. Of course, we needed to bring the Lo Caro nome, which is part of Rigoletto. And if you allow me, we will talk a little about Rigoletto, because I've been thinking throughout the whole week, what is really Rigoletto about? Is it really about a deformed man who is punished at the end? Is it the whole message of the opera is karma? Or the message is that if you are rich, you can get away with anything, as that would be the case of the Duque di Mantua? Or is it the story of a young innocent girl who at the end dies because she believes in true love? Truth is, I haven't decided what Rigoletto is about, because it is pretty much like everything here. And I also wanted to mention that this is our first time or first opportunity to talk about uh, maybe the most desired role for a baritone, because Rigoletto has a wide range of emotions. He can be tender with his daughter. He can feel revenge when claiming Cortiggiani will razza dannata, or he can be the worst person in the world, as in the first part of the first act, where he's part of the abuse of a young woman by the Duque di Mantua. So Rigoletto is all of that, and he has so many colors, and many people know that there are these roles called the Verdian baritones, and the Verdian baritones are special mainly because not every baritone can be a, a Verdian baritone. To be a Verdian baritone, you need a powerful voice, a powerful metallic with good high notes, with good central notes, and some powerful bass notes as well. So a very powerful voice throughout the whole range of your voice, which is not easy to find, and that can also express lots of emotion, because the baritone roles, many people know that Verdi himself was a barytone, so he wrote the best things for the barytones, which means that the tenors are not. And with that in mind, we have now that there is someone in the live stream. Thank you very much. Just sent us a message. And maybe no, I was about to say that maybe it was the person who sent the message on the podcast and now is looking at us and saying, if Ricardo didn't answer to my message, I'm going to write down again now. But I'm not sure who he or she is. But thank you very much for having joined. And going back to the part of Rigoletto, I think that the Duque di Mantua is, of course, necessary in here, but you can get rid of him very easily. In fact, if the tenor sings well, the Duque di Mantua means he was a nasty boy on stage, because the Duque di Mantua is a horrible role to sing. He's he doesn't respect women. He's a miserable guy. He abuses of his power, so he's everything a man shouldn't be. But at the end, you will hear that he has the very famous, hyper famous aria that you will see here at the end. But now let's go back to, before we jump to Caro nome, Katia, would you like to add something to this introduction of Rigoletto?
Well, he is a very complicated character. He has different different emotions. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, when he's with the Duke, he's a very different person of what he becomes when he's with Gilda. You could swear that it's not the same person. I mean, how can you think that the same person can be as evil as possible, helping in his mean plans, helping the Duke in his mean plans, and in the other hand, he's the sweetest and tender father that you can find on earth,
Yeah,
because he overprotects Gilda, but
yes,
he truly loves her. I mean that Gilda is the only thing, the only pure and good thing in his life.
it is, yeah. And when you listen to the color of his voice, and let me remind you, well, I haven't told you, but I have been sick for the past few days, and that's the reason why we will have Katia singing more. Yes. But
Oh God.
and as I was telling her as we were about to start the streaming, since today I have a field di voce, I am the perfect example of what a dehydrated, non-slept singer can sound. But if you are aware of the duet that he has with Gilda when he says, "Oh bella donna, la la la," that is such a tender line of music, like, with his voice is taking care of his beautiful daughter. You listen to that melody and you say he really loves his daughter. He really, really does. And when you listen to him in Cortiggiani vil razza dannata, and he shouts, Cortiggiani vil razza dannata, so turned into a beast, if you allow me to do that comparison. You can't even believe that it is the same person. How can he have those beautiful emotions for his daughter and that hate? You may say, oh, he's hating them because they well, at the end, the Duque di Manto also raped Jill. Of course, you may be mad, but remember that in the first act, he's laughing at the pain of another father. He's actually laughing, and that's why he gets la maledizione. Yeah, Rigoletto was also at some point believed to be called la maledizione instead of Rigoletto, because la maledizione is how it opens and la maledizione is how it ends. But Rigoletto is really a nasty guy. I have asked myself many times if he really didn't deserve what happened to him. The only thing that is that it meant that the life of an innocent was taken. But well, enough for the introduction. Let's go for what you prefer the most,
I
which
would
is
like to add that probably that's exactly his weak point, because sometimes we love somebody so much that we suffer even more seeing that person suffering than ourselves. So probably if we see Rigoletto dying, we would say, but now what? And now he's losing his beloved daughter, his innocent beloved daughter. So I think that that was fair for him. That's karma.
yeah. And now jumping into the Caro nome, the I think that almost every soprano who wants to sing wants to have the Caro nome in her repertory. And you could see a good number of sopranos when once they have it ready, because again, it is not an easy area. In fact, Verdi is not easy to sing, not only because it usually requires powerful voices, because if it is not because of the volume, it is because of the drama, or it is because of anything, but Verdi liked to make the life of singers difficult. So this piece has its difficulties, but why don't you, before we hear you sing this masterpiece by Verdi, why don't you share with us what do you consider are the main difficulties of the Caro nome?
Well, I think that honestly, for me, the most difficult part it is to approach to the feeling, to the mood. We always love somebody. I think that we have all of us have been in love once in our lives, but unfortunately, I have to say that I haven't felt the this kind of love, where this love where you think in somebody's name and you feel like you're listening heavenly bells, or thinking that is the most beautiful name on earth, because that's what she's saying here. She's singing not to Waldier Malte, that is the fake name of the Duke. She's singing to the name, the idea. She loves him so much that she's singing to his name, what his name produces into her heart. So I think that that's like overwhelming. I mean, it goes pretty more far away of what I've ever experienced, I have to say. So trying to sing with this idea, not just in my mind, but in my heart, has been complicated.
And
So I think that's the hardest part for me.
and of course it is hard because many people, or well, maybe theater actors would think differently, because they say, of course, we need to put in the mood of the character you are performing. But as in this case, and for well, you people don't know me, but my character has certain characteristics. So if I have to sing something that goes really against of who I am, it is very difficult, because you have to put into a different mood. You could say, well, then the singer is not a good singer because he's unable to to feel. But if you have never had that experience, as Katia just mentioned, it is even more difficult to how to express something you have never felt. And your professor can ask you to imagine that you are in that, but as soon as you're imagining, you are accepting that you haven't been there, because when you have suffered something, it is much easier to to do. And at the end, people have not paid attention, but at the end of the Waltier Malde, the final phrases are like, then again, like floated. You know, all the notes are Waltier Malde, like losing in the wind, like I don't know how to express it, but there is a a very special
Like
way.
whispering.
Yeah, and achieving that is something that is very difficult, because people remember that singing is much easier when you're singing in your natural or louder volume. But whenever you go pianissimo, things start to get difficult. So please keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, you have to pretend that you are that in love, whispering and using your diaphragm and your air and your breathing. So,
And singing some trines at the end, thrills. So the whole mix
yeah,
gets complicated.
yeah. So it's not the easiest thing I've ever done, but well, I'll try.
Let's go for it.
Okay, give me a second, please.
Sure. You know, I'm not singing, so I can wait.
Okay, okay. Caro nome che il mio vesti primo col pensier il mio desiderate sempevo per ultimo spirito nome tu sarà. Col pensiero il mio desir, a te sempre volerò. Mio sospir, caro nome tuo sarà. Col pensier il a te sempre volerò.
that's how Gilda ends up her very famous aria, and right after that, she leaves the room saying, Guardier malde, la la. Let me see if I find it. Well, it is in the score, the section that I am passing here, as she says, enters the house, her voice is heard from farther and farther off. Because of course the soprano cannot leave the stage without giving a high note, of course, that had to
Never
happen.
in life. Never in life.
But it is this character of purity of Gilda that makes us think that as the situation is so truly unfair to her, because we will see as the opera advances, we have learned that Rigoletto has a daughter, Gilda herself. We know that Il Duca de Mantua already knows Gilda, and she's about to be kidnapped by the group of people who follow the Duca de Mantua, and Rigoletto himself will be part of that kidnapping. He will not find out until it is too late. And for the second time in the opera, we will hear La Malediccione. So this act will end with him saying "Ha la maledizione," and depending on the mood of the baritone, it will be sung very well. Or if he's a divo, he will care about a nice impostation, a nice duration, but that is not supposed to be the case. I mean, you are suffering and you are afraid of what is going to happen. So when you actually yell La Malediccione, it is in horror of fear of what is going to happen. And deep inside your mind, you know that whatever is going to happen, you really deserve it. And that's what baritones usually forget, because since they are happy that they are giving such an amazing role as in Rigoletto, they make sure that everybody understands that they have a great voice. But this yell of La Maledizione has to be truly believable. You really have to
Yeah.
make people believe that something horrible is about to happen. And
I would like, oh, excuse me.
go ahead, go ahead.
I think that we have, as singers, we have to have always in mind that an opera is finally a, a theater work, but musicalized. Music is serving an argument. So we have to use our voice as actors do the same, to express, to communicate a story. Yes, it is true that, like we mentioned a few programs ago, opera um, experimented and walked through many different kinds of um, verismo, bel canto, and some others, and that requires different works in your voice to express the style you're singing. But finally, an opera, it is about the story. It is about acting and expressing with your voice. So we have, like I said, as singers, we have to be very conscious of this situation. And even if you are singing pyrotechnics, but you're serving a story, so it has to
Yes.
be believable.
Yes, absolutely. And also, let's remember that if you are, let's say, an academic musician, means you have very good musical theory fundamentals, you may easily understand that Verdi is not the most sophisticated composer. Many people know that Verdi is not the most sophisticated, at least from the composition technique and academic point of view. But Verdi is one of the greatest in understanding human emotions.
Yeah,
And in
totally.
particular, now that we are talking about Rigoletto and his daughter Gilda, Some people also say that Verdi kept for many years, if you are aware of his biography, he lost his family. So, this feeling of sadness between a father and the children, you can find it often in his operas because it looks like this sadness of having lost his family never left him. So picture that in your mind when you're thinking of the emotions of this Rigoletto, because we are about to go to La Donna e Mobile, but before we go to La Donna e Mobile, I think we need to make a small pause to talk about what happens next. So Gilda was kidnapped. Remember that we give a part of the libretto because the opera numbers don't just come out of anywhere. They are the result of something that evolved on stage. So she was kidnapped. Il Duca di Mantua finds himself alone and he's very upset because somebody stole the woman he wanted to have for himself, which is Gilda. He still doesn't know that that she has been kidnapped by his men. So he's very upset, and that's where
And he doesn't know that it's Rigoletto's daughter
and yeah, he already knows that it is.
because Rigoletto has worked his entire life hiding and protecting Gilda. Nobody knows that he has a daughter, and finally someone discovers, and that's why she's kidnapped.
Yes, that is true. And going back to the to this miserable guy that is Luca de Mantua, he's very upset not because he loved Gilda. He's very upset because somebody else is going to have her. So when he says "Ella mi fu rapita," I was telling you that if you hate the tenor, then the tenor sang his role well because the tenor there is to be hated. But then again, tenors usually lose this perspective and sing "Ella mi fu rapita" as if it was an aria from the Grand Opera, where then again the tenor is "Ella mi fu rapita," e qui l'ardiva, and you know all that part of the declamato. And when he jumps to "Parmi veder le lagrime," then again you have a whole great aria when "Parmi veder le lagrime" and all that part is because he's very upset that he doesn't have Gilda for himself.
That's right.
E qui l'ardiva and all of those emotions that Il Duca has are then revealed that they kidnapped her for himself, and many times it is omitted as small cavaletta, small cavatina, which I just forgot the name. Posenta Amor Mi Chiama. Many tenors don't sing it, mainly because it has, I don't remember if it is a high D or a flat D above
Remember.
above the high C. So I'm not sure if a tone or semitone. And so that's why many tenors say, "Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to skip that." but
Yeah, skip.
yeah. They go, okay, skip. They tell the director, "You know what? We are going to skip 3 pages of of the score. Let's move ahead." But I think it's very interesting when you have the chance of listening to it because completely, because if the tenor manages to understand the mood of the Duque de Mantua, then that's where he plays in the most miserable way with his voice, telling "O sente amor mi chiamare star yo de yo haré. And that playful way of singing it makes you understand that he's very happy in the most horrible way. He's not happy of having Gilda back again, the love of his life, but because he's just to possess the woman that he wants. That's why Posente Amor Mi Chiama is very important. And tenors, if you have read the score, that high note is not even written. So you should be included. Go for the high note that makes sense or that you can actually sing, but sing it well, and you will find that then the whole scene makes sense. Because now, before jumping into, sorry to say it, before jumping into raping Gilda, he's so very happy, and that's where the high note makes sense. That says "Posente amor mi chiama," ha ha ha, so very happy, and his men are celebrating with him. It is horrible when you think about it, because even it is on stage, it is a group of men celebrating that a woman is about to be raped. So if you pay
Yeah.
attention to that, you notice that Verdi is in fact making a statement on his opposition to those kind of behaviors. That's what Verdi is really doing it when he talks about Il Duque de Mantua. But as he cannot be a monster forever, then he gave the tenor an aria for which he will be everyone in the world will know what La Donna Mobile is, even if they don't know Verdi, what Rigoletto is, what a tenor is. Even if the singer sings it so horrible, it's like the one that Katia told us in the past. No matter how, you always get away with it. So you see, I have heard many people who don't know anything about opera say "La donna mobile siempre ta ta ta," with with their voices. They don't know the melody, but it
God.
is so sticky that they know that this is La donna mobile. So La donna mobile ta 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 ta, and also keep in mind that La donna mobile. I'm sorry to insist on that, but you know that I like to pay attention to the notes on the score. It is not only that it is written as allegretto, but it says with brio. So, the tenor is very happy, and it is again not to be sung as a great aria. It is not an aria of those immense compositions where, the tenor is in the front of everyone and now he's singing like in La Gioconda or Les Huguenots. No, 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 that is not the case. It is the miserable Duca de Mantua laughing and on how he perceives women. So if you would like to take a look at machismo, then go for La Donna Mobile. That's what it is really about.
Yes.
It is really a very nasty way to describe women, things that we shouldn't be celebrating. But since people likes, yes, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, sorry. I think that uh, Duque de Mantua is one of the most disgusting persons you can ever face to. Yes, it is very machista. But what about Cuesta o Cuela?
In fact, I skipped it, but yeah, Cuesta Cuela is pretty much the same, only with a less known melody. But it is also horrible things to
The
sing.
same idea.
Same idea, right?
Disgusting.
And I was telling you that it is not to be sung as a great aria from Les Huguenots or telling Joconda or something like that. No, no, no. This is an aria to be enjoyed, to be played. But since it is very well known, and now it is the time for tenors to show that they have a beautiful tenor voice, they sing it, they overdo everything. This is one of the most overdone arias of the whole catalog because they do too much legato. The impostation is way too perfect. It is so polished that tenors think it is like singing bel canto, and this aria is not bel canto. This is an aria from a miserable guy having fun with a nice melody.
Having fun of being a miserable guy
Yeah, celebrating
because
that I'm.
he knows he's a terrible person and he loves to. He
Yes,
enjoys to be that nasty person.
of course we're seeing it with the eyes of this century, but remember that Verdi wrote it a good number of over 160 years. He wrote it and he already opposed that. That's why if you notice how Gilda was written with these nice continuous melodies, innocent personality, everything is beautiful in Gilda. Rigoletto has this variety of colors in his voice and emotions, but the tenor is miserable from the beginning to the end. There is no change of perspective.
As usual.
Yeah. So if you find that somebody sang Rigoletto, sorry, Il Duca well, it means that he was a miserable guy on stage. And let's take a look at how La Donna Mobile goes. Like, fortunately for all of us, as I was telling you, since I am not in good conditions today, I want to maybe the most I can do is sing it marcato. Maybe that's the best I can do, so that it doesn't sound too horrible. But fortunately, we have a healthy soprano today with us, so she can cover what I cannot do.
I probably will not sing La Donna Immobile, but I have perhaps Saper Vorreste or Volta la Terra.
I love those two. I really love those two. So let's listen. I'm going to play it in the background because once you listen to the melody, you will realize, if you haven't heard it in the past, why is it so one of the greatest favorites of all times. Dun, dun, and then there is a pause, and then when he says, La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, muta d'accento e di pensiero, sempre un amabile, leggiadro viso, impianto iriso e menzognero. La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, muta d'accento e di pensiero. This recording is going to a little too fast from my perspective, but I think it's fair enough because, as I was telling you, this is not a great area, so it's just for fun, right? Chi da lei s'affida, chi le confida, mal cauto il cuore, ormai non sentasi felice a pieno, chi su quel seno non gli va amore. La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, vuota d'accento e di pensier. Tan 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 e di pensier. You know, you see, the melody is so simple. E di pensier, and then again, e di pensier. There is usually a part that is not added, that is usually added by all singers. I think that I was mentioning it in the past. There is a cadenza that is usually horrible, sung by by all tenors, because you know when you're trying to sing it like a grand aria in the grand opera, and you come from di pensier, and when you have all that volume and your voice, and you want to go for a light cadenza, of course the voice is not responding.
Yeah,
You're going from very fast, like when you're driving a car at all power, and then you want to go smooth through a curve. It's not going to happen. So if you're an experienced
you're gonna cry.
singer, you know that before you attack something this light, you need to take all the pasta before you jump into that, because otherwise the car is going to crash. So
Yeah,
don't expect to say pensiero. Go full voice because everything will. You have to
yeah,
start taking the volume out of your voice, maybe like. And maybe you have to do it faster, but at this point, since you are not singing it full voice, it doesn't sound so horrible, as I have heard it many times happen. Or it's like the tenor going slow motion, you know. You know, like
yeah. And you get exhausted along with him.
yeah, and by the time you want to sing your A, nobody or really cares or doesn't really know what you were doing. You were losing your air or what has happened to you. And but it has to be nice. I think the one of the nicest ways of rapping it that I have heard is from Pavarotti. Pavarotti, I have to confess, is not one of my favorites, but in particular, I think that Il Duca de Mantua was good for his voice, and he sang it well. So he knew that he didn't have to give all the power to his voice. So he would go, "Eddie." Yeah, and very well, "Eddie, Eddie, pension." You know, and it was so smoothly sung that it was nice. So I think Pavarotti did a very good job in here. So
Mm.
maybe we can play it again, and maybe we can convince Katya to sing a part of it. It could be only fair.
Me singing La Donna?
Why not? If I tried now that I don't have a voice, why wouldn't you?
But I can read the score.
But you know it by heart, right?
Okay.
La donna è mobile, qual piuma al vento, mota d'accento e di pensiero, sempre un amabile, leggiadro viso, in pianto e riso e menzognero. La donna è mobile, qual piuma al vento, mota d'accento e di pensiero e di pensier che di pensier pam 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 pam. Many people, in fact, hate this aria because they say this melody is oversimplistic, and to tell the truth, it is. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it's not the most elaborated piece of music that we have heard.
And Verdi was such a genius that he knew that this oversimplistic melody was to be remembered forever, and
Yeah,
he was right. Because
because it is simple and easy to remember.
e di pensier tan 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 tan. And there's e di pensier. Yeah, and with that high note, because the same happens as I was telling you. If you're singing the this a G, where is that? Mm, if you're singing that high note prior to the rapping, if you're going full speed, full power, and when you try to sing a cadenza, you have too much voice and you crash. But the opposite is the same. Since you have a light weight in your voice, and going back to full speed, it also takes good technique. So there are many singers that when they try to go for the A, end up crashing again. So imagine you crash when you go for the cadenza, and you crash again when you want to go for the A. So the trick there is to put, to how do we say frenar? I forgot the word in English.
The break? No.
Yeah, the brake. You use the brake, so you have to use the brake before reaching the cadenza. Make sure you don't crash. And when you are about to leave the curve, then you have to put again the accelerator so you can reach the A. But try to reach full volume, cadenza, and then the A. It's not going to work. Believe me. Okay.
No, probably in concert, but not with the entire character.
No, no, you will not get away with it. Of course not. Right after that, there comes a very nice, the very famous quartet, which starts
Oh,
says Un di se ven ramento mi, which I am pretty sure that you like Gilda's part.
yeah, probably I do.
Yeah, you certainly do. I am pretty sure you do. And it says Un di se ven ramento mi, ove ti incontrai, mi piace di te chiedere, e in te sì che qui stai, or sappi che d'allora solo te che l'alma adora. And that's where Gilda says, iniquo.
Inequal.
Iniquo, yeah. And then comes Maddalena with her strong voice and says, ha ha, eventi al presso al don, eventi appresso, le scordo forse adesso, a un'aria il signorino, davvero libertino. And then again you notice that the mezzo is singing in darker color than the tenor again. So when Maddalena
Oh,
is darker than the Duca, then it is very funny to listen to that. And right after that is when the very beautiful melody starts with Vela figlia dell'amore, tan tan tan, and
schiavo son
con
dei
i
me.
vezzi tuoi, con un detto sol, ton pene consolar. Vieni e senti del mio cuore il frequente palpitar con un detto sol. Dopo le mie pene consolar. Then again, the powerful Maddalena, ha ha, rido vendicore che tai vai costante poco. And then it goes Gilda, ah, così parlar d'amore.
Parlava d'amor.
And remember, let's jump to that part because I have always find it very interesting, and I think I'm pretty sure that's the part you love. That even though Gilda is supposed to be singing a phrase, it is this this short notes. Infelice cor ta 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 ta. That's what she's keeping. The rhythmic and the metric of it. Why don't you share us a little
Yeah.
part of those nice notes that she sings? Yeah, and I really love the quartet.
Yeah, I think that is probably one of my top 10 favorite opera passages.
Yeah, it certainly is. If I had the voice, I would sing the four voices. Unfortunately, I don't. So
I know. I would like to sing the four voices too.
because each melody, that's what you find the genius of Verdi. Each of the voices makes sense. They are
Yeah,
singing something. If you take away Il Duque de Mantua, something is missing. If you take Maddalena, which is shorter, something is missing. If you take Rigoletto,
yeah,
something is missing. And if you take out Gilda, there is no quartet at all.
yeah. That's right.
To be fair. So why
Yeah.
don't I'm afraid we're about to reach the hour, and you know that is usually our duration. It is so fast. When we're having fun, things go so fast. But we
That's
cannot
right.
say goodbye today without jumping to one of Katya's favorite roles, and which is a role that I also like a lot. The role last week we talked about the roles travestito, and we mentioned Cherubino was last time. It is this time the Oscar in Un ballo di maschera, also by Verdi, again sung by a mezzo. And I insist, I have problem with the mezzo has an even wider voice than the tenor. So how can you justify that he's a youngster when has much more past her voice than the tenor? But okay, putting that apart. Uh, and maybe to make mention to the purpose of today's presentation that I made earlier, the specific case of Oscar, uh, for some people, it implies that maybe you'll be aware that in the case of In ballo di maschera, it was censored, so it could make no reference to the actual governor that he wanted to represent. But that actual governor was said to have his Oscar, who's his young lover, and that's what Verdi is showing us here. That this young lover that he has had, was in fact Oscar. And so Oscar has two very nice short melodies. I still don't know which one to prefer. Which one do you prefer of the two?
I don't know. I really love both of them. I would throw a coin.
And all his interventions are so joyful.
Okay. I one song in one hand and another song in another one, and you choose
Uh,
one or two.
let's go for two.
Volta.
Volta, okay, volta la terra. Okay, let's listen to that. And with that, we are closing today's program. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you another time. And now it's time to listen to Oscar in Un ballo di maschera.
Volta la terra fronte alle stelle come spaventa la sua pupilla quando le vele il fimbre dice me sto felice del loro amor me sto felice del loro amor. Cordognon,
Sia condannata. Yeah, right. That's where the other voice meets.
chi la profetica sua gonna ferra e passi il mare voglia la guerra e sufficienza de sola figlia mare da questa prende nel dubbio cor da questa prende nel dubbio cor. Cordogno,